Guys, I'm excited to welcome you back to the Move by Move series where I'm playing rapid games and explaining you my thought process, my thinking process, every single move. I hope you can learn something from me. Now we're looking for our opponent for today. Usually I record those in the evenings and most of the opponents I'm facing are from United States or from Canada. I haven't faced a lot from Canada, but mostly from United States. Epic Gem. Alright. Uh, London system. London system. So there are multiple approaches towards it. I'll play e6. I'll play what I know, and then once we play this game, we'll probably analyze something. He's higher rated than me actually, so it will be interesting for me to play against him. So let's play c5. So let's say how Daniel Naroditsky or Bortnik, they play this Jabava London with knight c3. So this is the main line. So bishop d3, bishop d6. I think I've recorded something for white, not here specifically, but so what I suggest to play in London is actually go for castle, early castle, and then play bishop b5. And then there are some interesting, very interesting lines. Now what I want to play is probably bishop f4, then knight a7, I have rook a7. So I think bishop f4 is a way to go. And it takes f4, I might play b takes c6. And it shouldn't be too bad, because then, I want to go for this and this. Yeah, I might have problems with the c pawns here, but let's see. So I play rook b8, I'm hitting the pawn on b2, queen c2. So now, what happens is I might play queen b6, and I'm not only hitting this pawn on b2, but I'm also hitting this pawn on d4. So I'm not sure if queen c2 is the right move, because now she takes d4, and I might even go for this sacrifice on c6, because I think it's actually good. But let's see, because castle now, I think queen b2 is just should be better for me. If castle, I'm not only should consider this, because castle takes queen d4, hitting this. If queen c6, bishop d7, it might be very unpleasant actually, but let's see. He's quite confident, and one of the ideas I might have, the more I'm thinking right now, maybe even trade light squared bishops off the board, because then I'll have this beautiful e4 square for my knight. So becomes very unpleasant for white here. And if b3 is just not a move, because c takes e4 and I'm just up a pawn. And alright, he might take this pawn on c6 and go back. Let's say b3 takes, queen d4, queen c6, bishop e7, queen comes back to c3. But I don't have to trade queens, I might just go queen b6 back. And if he castles, no, I'm at castle and then my rook comes to c8. His knights, his pieces are not as good. So it's very unpleasant, The more I'm looking in this position, the more I realize white probably got a lot of problems. And if he, let's say, develops now like knight a3, I think just simple c4 is what kind of good for me, looks good for me. Queen d4, as I said, queen c6, bishop d7, queen c3, yes, comes back. And now I might consider playing this, but I don't think it's any good for me. Queen f4, of course, is not possible. So by basically eliminating my options here, we can say that queen b6 is the best move here, because queen c3 I just let him develop, because then knight c3 comes into the action, right? So, and unless I would have some, tactical opportunities, if my bishop was on c6 maybe, then, queen c3, d4, hitting this and this, but here I just simply go back. Oh, he's actually watching me on Twitch. Yeah, he's just saying something in messages like, I watch you on Twitch. I like when you play bullet brawls and trying to see pieces fly around the board. Alright. You see, I'm actually playing one of my viewers. Alright, that's fun. That, I'm getting this people watch me. But you know, now I gotta punish him for this London. Now rook comes to c8. So yeah, guys, just gain the rating to 2200 and then you can play me here. Alright, so knight d2. And here, you know, rook comes to c8. I mean, it just should be very good. So what else do I have? Because at some point bishop c6. So rook c8 seems like a way to go. Maybe even d4, knight d5. Rook c8. Queen f5. Maybe so yeah, he kinda, if he blocks this d4 square, so maybe I kinda underestimated here the white position here, but you know, doesn't look like he has a lot of problems. Like bishop b5 seems like a very interesting move just to trade this bishop off the board. Queen b4 seems like a, I mean, queen b4 just, you know, simple. Yeah, bishop b5 seems like a move that I need to consider seriously, and then knight f3. So bishop e5 actually looks very promising, because then, you know, I mean, of course I have this d5 pass pawn and e-file, so if takes, you know, should be better. I mean, knight f3, I have some knight d4 as well, so he might go for trades, but I don't think trades are good for him. And also some queen e2 options should be considered as well. So it's a bit unpleasant for white, but I think they're leaving here as of right now. So what's his rating in it's interesting, what's the rating in Blitz? In Blitz 1900 and in Rapid 2258. Alright, road to NM, good luck Oscar. The same rating as me, I mean, still, I'm not playing this as much, but still, you know, 2258, not bad, not bad. Alright, so queen b5, I'm better on time. You know, looks good for me. Considering I have this d pawn. Yeah, I mean, there might be some ideas. Let's say I bring my queen to h3 and then knight to g4. Yeah, it's somewhere in my, you know, mind, but still it's... So he might just start trading off the pieces on c-file. So my idea might be also, you know, to just... But look, h5, I don't want to play h5 because then I kinda weaken this g5 square. So, but h6... Alright, I mean, h5 looks more, you know, aggressive. But h5, knight f3 simple, and then, you know, knight d4, knight kind of controls h4 square as well. So it's interesting here, and it's very complicated, and he's spending a lot of time. So, because he has to spend time, he has to find those moves. And yeah, knight f3 looks the most logical. Rook c1, but then queen e2 should be considered. Rook d1... I don't like this move, Oscar, because now some, you know, you have to deal with a lot of things here. And one of the things is actually to play queen d3. So queen d3 has its own idea, because I don't allow knight to play here. If knight c4, there is queen c4 and I win the game, because knight c4 attacks the queen. So we might, you know, go for this little trick, and then this, maybe queen f3, and then, you know, knight d4. So yeah, queen d3 just looks very good, because I want to go here. And if knight c4, you know, he might easily blunder this thing. It's queen c4 and I'm using the spin, because, you know, you're like, alright, I'll attack the queen where it's gonna go, but in reality queen c4 and I'm winning this. So, but yeah, so some of the moves, yeah, this. So now I have a couple of moves in mind. So first of all, I might consider queen c2 and rook c2, but the more I'm thinking, the more I realize that probably it's not gonna work for me. So a move like queen f3 makes more sense, because You know, I keep the queens on the board. I'm threatening maybe knight e4, and then yeah, now h5, h4 looks logical as the knight is a bit too far, and I might create my own threats here. This move, queen h5, looks very, very good. The queen h5, queen e2 looks promising. Yeah, so he's trying to go for some kind of repetition here. So queen e2. And then if rook c1, I have some knight e4 in mind. And if it's actually queen e2, rook e1, queen h5. But queen e2, there is also this move, which I kinda don't like. And if takes, knight g4, there is knight f3, rook c3, king g2, rook c2, rook d2. Rook d2 cannot be played. Oh, whoa, wait. Queen e2, because I don't think it can be played, because takes, and then some knight g4. And if knight f3, I play rook c3 first. And then if king g2, I play rook c2, I'm attacking the pawn on f2. And now if rook goes to f1 or d2, I either take e5 or I fork. So queen e5 actually loses, as it seems. Maybe not, because queen e5 takes, knight g4, there is f4. But then I entered the second rank, and it becomes very, very unpleasant. So, but other than queen e5, I mean knight e4 right now is a threat, because then I'm threatening f2. I'm threatening d2 knight. There might be some queen d4 after knight e4, but then, you know, maybe I can come up with something. But queen d4 looks good actually. Surprisingly looks good. And then rook c2, knight d4. Still a lot of stuff to calculate. The good thing is I'm up on time, and it will be tough for Oscar to come up with moves as we continue. Now it's more of like a blitz time control, 3 minutes for him and 5 for me. Still, I'll try to use my time advantage here, because look, it's very important. Once again, knight c4, trading operations, trying to go for this. I just take on c4, it's not an option. Obviously this knight can't really move, but still, now knight c4, and now knight e4, he's kind of prevented it from happening. But what if I play knight g4? Because now I think what happens is, after knight g4, there's queen d4. Alright, and then rook c2, queen a7, rook c8, and he's in some sort of, you know, serious zugzwang, because he will have to deal with everything. So knight g4 looks promising. Knight e4 doesn't work as much, because knight e4 just takes. So knight g4 really looks good. There is knight f1 simple move, but then rook c2. So once again, I think queen d4 is the only move right now, but then I go rook c2, and I kind of keep more pressure here. Yeah, he plays this, but I don't think he saw that rook c2 is probably the move which makes better for me. Because rook c2, and I don't see good moves besides queen d4, but then I just take and knight h3, or I can just take and then transpose to win an endgame. Queen d4, knight f2 actually is much more stronger move, because I'm just trying to basically go for checkmate, right? So knight f2, what if rook d2? That's what we gotta calculate. Knight h3, king h1, takes, or queen f3 just wins, right? Yeah, it looks like a winning move. Knight 8, knight f2, and then it just looks horrible. If I am not mistaken, if I don't blunder anything stupid, yeah, and Oscar just resigned here. Thank you for the game. Let's get to the analysis. Yeah, guys, let's get to analysis. So very solid game by me. I'm actually surprised. You'll see the summary of the game with my performance. So my accuracy, 97.2 accuracy for me, 82.0 for white pieces, and 2700 rating performance. So let's get to review once again. London system, you know, play this line all the time with c5, e6, you know, don't go for bishop f5 lines. c3, knight c6, bishop d6. So as what I usually tell people to play in London system when you're with white, so let's say this, castle, knight bd2, and then knight c6, and there is very tricky, so bishop d3 is the main line, but bishop d5 is the line which I learned many years ago. I think someone started this, then Magnus played this in World Championship, Blitz World Chess Championship, and I think Rapid World Chess Championship. And my coach and I analyzed it for a while, and it turns out that, you know, this can be kind of, you know, interesting when it's played on, let's say, below 2000 level, or it's, let's say, from 2000 to 2300, because people don't usually know what to play. The main line is actually to open the H file, which seems like an absolutely stupid decision, but it's actually the best approach. And now queen b6, and the position is equal. I won many games here because people play a6, takes, queen a4, attacking on c6, and the problem is now, let's say queen c7 is played, there is first of all bishop d6, and so yeah, let's say this, and now pinion this queen on this diagonal, and let's say knight d7, protecting pawn on c5. We can play castle, or how I think I played knight b3 and just took a pawn on c5. But alright, black can create counterplay by playing e5, but usually, like, you know, as long as you can take this pawn, you should be kind of better in the structures in this position. So very tricky bishop b5, but alright. My opponent played bishop d3, main line, and now knight e5. So knight e5 is a terrible move. So first of all, yeah, I played queen c7, which is not a good move, because knight e5 is the move which I was usually afraid of. But knight e5 also just loses this pawn on the spot, because this not loses, because probably bishop b5 is what saves. But for castle, you know, white just have to trade this off the board, elsewise this pawn will be taken. But now white got a castle as soon as possible because bishop a6 is coming. So let's say this, and I mean, black generally don't have any problems in this position. I would consider something like queen b6, just hitting the pawn. I mean, computer doesn't like this move too much, but alright, this is what happens. Knight e5 is not the best move. Queen c7 is played, takes. So yeah, I think I have played against this line before. And what people have done here is play knight a7, takes, and then take. I'm not sure what's the best move. Computer says takes, c4, or queen f4 is one of the moves as well. It's quite logical. But queen f4, alright, he takes c5. Computer says knight d4. Like, absolutely wild position here. Takes, insane. Alright, he takes f4, takes this. And now, as I said, rook b8 I think is a very good and strong move, because now I'm attacking pawn on b2 and have these ideas of going for queen b6, and that's exactly what happens. Now I take this, so queen c3 as I calculated during the game, queen b6, castle, and now rook comes to c8, and alright, position is equal, but it's at the same time it's a bit unpleasant for white, because alright, they still gotta get the knight to the game somehow through f3 and then to e5, and it's not that easy. Queen b2, bishop b5, trading light squared bishops off the board, and here I was like, alright, I have some activity, I might go queen e2, and queen d3 was one of the options. Queen e2, yeah, computer says just simple rook e1, queen d3, and just repeat the moves. But alright, I play queen d3, so once again what I discussed during the game, knight c4, sometimes people get too excited about attacking, but queen c4, queen f6, takes, b takes c4. I actually didn't see queen f6 first, I was like, alright, that's just a pin, but yeah, queen f6, but unfortunately here, you know, black are just up a pawn, and white will probably gonna end up losing the game, so knight f1 was played, queen f3, I was just trying to keep pressure, and after queen f2, Oscar played rook ab1. So he's trying to move his knight somewhere, he's trying to get rid of the spin, but at the same time what I was calculating during the game was queen d4. And then, alright, you might not like this, queen e7, that's exactly what I was calculating, that this is threatening, this knight is under attack, you gotta do something. The computer says queen e3, and then of course I would never go for queen h5 and trying to set up knight g4. So my rook is on second rank, kinda you know, pressing everything here. And yeah, computer plays passive here on h4, h4 probably. And yeah, just h6, but still there's a lot of play. It's not clear how black can win quickly. Computer does completely equal after rook ac1. So the position would have been very, very complicated, but I was very lucky. Oscar made some mistakes. He played knight f1, didn't really realize that rook c2 is what's... And knight f1 is the move I was calculating first, but then I saw that rook c2 and, you know, a lot of troubles. And after queen d4, knight f2, I have to capitulate. Because basically, queen f2, of course, I don't want to trade because, you know, alright, we got to the endgame. I'm still winning, but after knight f2, I maintain all the pressure, all the threats of knight h3, and we'll win the game, of course. Because basically what's being threatened is just, let's say for a second, queen a7 is played, there's knight h3, queen g2. If something like what queen e3, there is once again this. If knight f3, knight h3, queen h2, and I'm winning again. So no defense from checkmates. And basically a knight f2, white resigned, and I won the game. Alright, 20-26 rating after 6 episodes. I hope you learned something new from me. I hope you just start thinking more when you play. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next Move by Move episodes. Bye bye.